The Searchers, a classic John Wayne Western, is unofficially remade in a major American Primeval subplot. American Primeval on Netflix is renowned for its unapologetic portrayal of the Old West and how grim, violent, and hopeless that time period was. Its portrayal of the West is very different from that of John Wayne's Westerns, who dominated the genre from the 1930s until his last movie in 1976. The opposite of American Primeval, Wayne's Oaters tended to focus on good versus bad guys without any sex, blood, or profanity. Wayne's portrayal of resentful, racist Civil War veteran Ethan Edwards, who spends years searching for his missing niece, was one of his darkest roles. After being abducted by the Comanche, Debbie later joined the tribe and married Chief Scar, Henry Brandon. One of Wayne's personal favorites, The Searchers is a fantastic adventure and a startlingly somber character study. Though one story seems to have been greatly influenced by American Primeval, the tone is completely different. Jacob, Dane DeHaan, and Abish Pratt, Sora Lightfoot Leon, a Mormon couple traveling across the frontier with their party, are introduced in the first episode of American Primeval. Jacob barely escapes being scalped during the attack and slaughter of their group, and Abish is taken hostage by the Shoshone tribe. Jacob insists on organizing a search party to find his wife after he is sutured up, but his obsession and the trauma of his scalping soon cause him to become more aggressive and dangerous. Abish, who has always felt alienated in her Mormon community, begins to develop a bond with the tribe's culture in the meantime. To put it succinctly, American Primeval's Pratt plot unfolds similarly to a sinister reimagining of The Searchers, but with far more agency for Abish. Their storyline is chaotic, violent, and tragic, and it always seems to be headed toward a depressing conclusion. This is also not a thrilling tale of good versus evil. As this story unfolds, Jacob feels like he's on the verge of going insane while The Searchers investigates Ethan's mental state. As he searches for Abish, his grasp on reality becomes increasingly shaky. It becomes even more shaky when he discovers that the Mormon militia members who seemed to be helping him were actually responsible for the massacre as a power move. The Searchers' fundamental framework serves as the basis for American Primeval's exploration of some of the period's more complicated topics. Even though the majority of The Searchers' violence takes place off-screen, the journey can still be difficult at times. Wayne's Ethan later shoots a dead Comanche's eyes in retaliation after his family is massacred in the first act, condemning his spirit to roam the earth forever. Implied rapes are also present, and because of his racism, Edwards is ready to put his niece to death when he finds out she has joined the tribble, until he changes his mind in the last moments. Despite everything mentioned above, American Primeval is a much more depressing experience than the Wayne movie. Men, women, and children are shot down in the gruesome massacre that concludes Episode 1. Major characters pass away in an unceremoniously manner in subsequent episodes, while others are maimed, beaten, or deceived. Although it's a stark vision, American Primeval never feels so overwhelming that viewers would stop watching, which is a testament to the caliber of the writing and performances. However, the story of Jacob and Abish ends tragically. In an inevitable bloody raid against the Shoshone tribe, Jacob is enlisted by the Mormon militia. Jacob shoots down a female warrior who is attacking during the chaos. It turns out that she is Abish in war paint. Before she passes away, Jacob gives her one final kiss before he kills himself in his agony. Even though the conclusion of American Primeval didn't work out for either of them, Jacob is still happy that he found Abish and finished his quest, according to DeHaan, who is speaking with Decider. Cynthia and Parker, who was abducted by the Comanche when she was 9 years old, served as the inspiration for the Searchers. After that, Cynthia was adopted by the tribe and lived with them for 24 years. Before being saved by Texas Rangers at the age of 33, she had 3 children and married a war chief during that time. But after being fully integrated into the tribe, she was saved against her will. Cynthia struggled to reintegrate into society and yearned to return to her tribe in the last years of her life. Like Ethan in The Searchers, Cynthia uncle also obsessively searched for her for decades. American Primeval examines how Abish is drawn to the Shoshone tribe's way of life, while Debbie's relationship with the Comanche isn't thoroughly examined in the John Ford movie. Even though it can be brutal, she is drawn to their dignity and warmth as a family, and in the end she decides to stay with them rather than go look for Jacob. She undergoes such a thorough metamorphosis that Jacob doesn't recognize her until he has shot her. DeHaan even says in the previously mentioned Decider chat that it seems as though Jacob and Abish's tragic ending was predetermined and that they were supposed to cross paths again before it ended. The Searchers has many other fans, including Martin Scorsese and George Lucas, but Steven Spielberg has stated that he always rewatches it before starting a new movie. The entire story of Princess Leia's, Carrie Fisher, rescue in Star Wars is actually taken from The Searchers. There are also a lot of covert Hawks movie remakes out there. Although 2011's Priest expands the idea into a post-apocalyptic world populated by vampires, Kurt Russell's Bone Tomahawk is essentially a horror parody of the idea. While Ron Howard's underappreciated The Missing seems like the most straightforward remake of the group, Travis Bickle, Robert De Niro, attempting to save Iris, Jodie Foster, in Taxi Driver is another play on the idea. It's no surprise that The Searchers has had such an impact on other filmmakers, including Peter Berg on American Primeval, as it is, rightfully, considered one of the greatest westerns ever made. Long ago there was even discussion about Bruce Willis starring in a science fiction version of The Searchers, but that idea never materialized.